We're going to talk about veggies. Veggies. So this is probably one of the most fundamental paradigm shifts that we have, or that I should say that I have experienced. You didn't have.
I didn't like veggies, so I didn't give a shit that they went away.
You were happy that they went away.
But
it's still
mentally,
weird.
Mentally, it was huge.
So even when we tell people, like they ask us what we're doing, because we have a lot of people we interact with that have noticed. I mean, it's already, even though I have lost very little weight, he's noticeably smaller, and we also are noticeably happier, move better, that kind of thing. So we peacock in the mirror.
Well,
and he doesn't have his hat on, so he probably feels naked, which is a little exposing. But people ask us what we're doing, and we'll say, well, we're eating meat, or however we word it. And there's an implication or an assumption that, and veggies, like everyone just assumes that we are also eating vegetables because it's so ingrained.
Most people anyway, it's because it's a given.
It's so ingrained in the way people think. I mean, that's what I would have thought before too.
I mean, so many people as children, including myself, could not leave the table until they ate the vegetables that their parents wouldn't eat. My parents.
Tell that little story about your dad.
Oh, my dad, he never really pushed a whole lot of stuff, but he got a hair up his butt one night. Probably, I would say I was 6, maybe 7. And he wanted me to eat the nasty, crappy canned spinach. And I wouldn't eat it. And I just, okay, I'll just sit there. And so my mom put some on his plate and it's like, well, when you eat yours, you can get up too. I was done. It was over. That was it. Never had that discussion again, ever.
Also,
so that was good.
Is canned spinach even spinach? I wonder if it has higher oxalate or lower. Anyway.
It's nasty.
So I was raised...
Or even thinking about that, I had an elementary school principal that made me take a bite of spinach before I could go to recess when I was a kid. I think I was probably 8 then. And I almost threw up when I took it, but I wanted to go play. So
that feels abusive. We should file a report.
Yes, I really liked him. He's got, I don't know. He's pretty popular. People really liked him, but he
was trying.
He was trying. He was doing what everybody's supposed to do. You're supposed to eat your vegetables because they're good for you.
And there's like a whole even there's parenting hacks to get our kids to eat their vegetables. Like, how many vegetables can you sneak into this or that? I went on a smoothie binge, like a veggie smoothie binge for about a year, where I was eating, God, I may as well have just called it an oxalate shake, but it was a lot. My body finally just rebelled, and I started throwing up when I drank them, and I had to stop. But boy, I thought those things were saving my life. And Tom's like, they're not.
I'm like, you're inflamed,
helping.
You don't feel good, you don't have energy. And this is before we knew anything about this, but I was like, oh my goodness.
He was just noticing. I tend to go with whatever I'm supposed to, and then I'll just force myself. This has really been eye-opening. But I was raised by a soil scientist. We always had at least an acre garden. We kids, or 6 of us kids, we each had to raise our own garden too and plant our own stuff and learn how to grow it and stuff, which is cool on the one hand, but because I was forced to do it, I was never into it. But anyone would tell you, I grew up with salad being my favorite food. And anyone said, what's your favorite food? I'd say salad and then ice cream. Come to find out, I think when we started carnivore, I was at a point where I was like, you know what? I feel so terrible and I'm so ready to feel better that there's pretty much nothing I wouldn't give up. So when Tom was like, I'm doing carnivore, and then 2.5 weeks in, I'm watching him feel better, and I'm like, whoa, what? And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll try it. I didn't miss it. I don't miss it.
I didn't miss it. Never will.
You never did not miss it.
I know. If I were to quit carnivore, which I'm not, if I were to, I would never eat a vegetable again.
Still never eat a vegetable again. That just sounds so wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because I still have 49 years of believing that vegetables were health, that there were essential phytonutrients. Who knew there were no essential nutrients that come from plants? And I get that in my bones. My body knows that, but my mind is still like, I don't know.
Well, they're essential for ruminant animals, or
Right,
they're
not for
part of their diet
humans.
anyway,
Just
and
not
they eat
for
them,
the
and then they
human.
destroy the poisons in them, and then they
make
feed
them
us.
good to eat with their
Yes.
meat. So vegetables is that what I have started saying, because I initially, when I started this, I said I was on an elimination diet. I didn't want to explain to anyone because I already felt weird enough. I didn't want to have the conversation. So I just said I was on an elimination diet for my perimenopausal symptoms because it was all jacked up. But I've had additional conversations with people when they get interested because I am feeling so much better and acting so much perkier and stuff. And what I've said to different people is I just never thought to eliminate vegetables. Because when you think of elimination diet, it would have never occurred to me in 1,000 years to try eliminating vegetables. To me, you have to have vegetables and then you build from there. So the idea that we eliminated those and that was the key, I mean, beyond the regular, like the crap we were eating,
Right.
processed and sugar and all that. So I'm curious if you have eliminated vegetables, how is it for you? Love to hear in the comments. Or if you are considering eliminating vegetables, what are your hangups? What are your thoughts? What are you attached to? What do you think that you love?
What are you afraid of?
What are you afraid of? Join the dark side. It's so bizarre.
It really is.
It's one of the most bizarre things that it makes me feel like whatever that is, the blue pill or the red, what's the pill with the matrix? Red pill?
Red pill?
Whichever one. Like you see the matrix, that's what it feels like when you eliminate vegetables. So
When you don't
Come
buy
to the
into
dark
the
side.
system. That's a good sign right there. The government set it all up and had the food pyramid. Well, and grain companies like Kellogg's and other stuff.
we digress.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe we don't
yeah,
digress.
I'm not.
Maybe that's the middle of
my information is not clear enough to speak on that yet, although I know the info.
Also,
but
we don't
not-
have to make that the main point
it's not-
because
it's not the point.
it's still legal to eat
Don't
meat.
and
so
don't eat your vegetables.
Yeah.
Just don't.
And if you want to, we'll
Feel
probably
better.
do a book review about this in another video, but there is a book by Sally K Norton she wrote called Toxic Superfoods that is a super detailed description of the harm that oxalate does to your body and what plants, grains, and fruits have, how many, what the concentration is and what that does to your body. It's a really long book and it's very thorough. And after reading that, I literally could not go back. So warning ahead of time, but if you are truly interested and want to find out, that's a great resource because come to find out, like the chronic neck pain that I had, I know that was from eating toxic
It's all the oxalates.
vegetables.
As soon
There's
as it
other-
went away, yeah,
there's other
I mean,
toxins
stuff,
in-
but yeah,
in plants
lots of them,
too,
but that's
Who
primary.
knew that eliminating plants would be so healing?
Critical.
So, that's what we have to say about that. So as always, eat meat.